How's it going, everyone? My name is Calvin, and in this mini video I'll be discussing the famous Niki Lauda and James Hunt rivalry of 1976. The season back in those days of Formula One was like no other. Lauda and Hunt in this particular season is considered one of the greatest, if not the greatest, racing rivalry of all time. In fact, there was even a movie based on the following season of the duo. But in any case, let's jump into it. This is the story of the Niki Lauda and James Hunt rivalry of 1976. At the start of the 1976 season in Brazil, defending champion Niki Lauda for Scuderia Ferrari led the most laps of 32, and won with ease. As for James Hunt, he crashes out. In race 2 in the South African Grand Prix, Lauda won once more, leading every single lap. Hunt settled for second. Fast forward to the fourth round at the Grand Prix of Spain, it was known as the Hunt and Lauda Show, as both were the only drivers to lead laps all race long. Lauda led for 31 laps, and race winner James Hunt led 44. One race later in the Belgium Grand Prix, Niki Lauda led every single lap en route to his third win of the season. In Monte Carlo, Niki finishes first yet again, while James Hunt suffered engine issues. In the Grand Prix of France on July 4th, déjà vu struck the two competitors, but in reverse. Lauda's engine would expire, which gave Hunt an advantage point to score the victory. Come Brands Hatch for the British Grand Prix, James Hunt would seal the deal, or so he and his fans thought. Shortly after Hunt took the checkered flag, he was disqualified, giving the win to none other than, you guessed it, Niki Lauda. After Brands Hatch, up next was the treacherous Nurburgring Raceway. For many years, Nurburgring was known as the graveyard, considering the number of deaths in Formula One at the facility. On this particular day, the track was half dry, half wet. The morning prior to the race, Niki had concerns about safety and high risk regarding the track conditions and wanted to cancel the race. However, James Hunt and other drivers, teams, and of course the fans objected. The race would still go on despite the damp weather. Hunt dominated, leading all 14 laps to secure the win. On the other hand, Niki Lauda had a horrific crash, losing control of his car, sending it hard into a guardrail. The hit was so severe it erupted the fuel tank. He breathed in burning fumes for at least 2 to 3 minutes and miraculously survived. He was saved, just. With Niki Lauda sidelined, Hunt was gaining on him in the championship standings, with a 4th place at Austria and a 1st at Netherlands. The next race at Monza for the Italian Grand Prix, one of the biggest racing comebacks happened. Niki Lauda, despite the fact he was still in incredible pain and also bleeding, scored a 4th place finish. Then came the next 2 races in Canada and Watkins Glen. Both were won by Hunt. With Canada and the Glen out of the way and dusted, there was only one more race left standing: the Japanese Grand Prix in Mount Fuji. The race was greeted by showers of rain, but it didn't stop the drivers from racing for one last time in 1976. At the time of the race, Lauda was still behind the wheel, but was at the same time trying to recover from his injuries. Speaking of whom, he pulled into the pits just 2 laps in and decided to not return, because he didn't want to take the chance of having a repeat of Nürburgring. Meanwhile, James Hunt in his number 11 McLaren had to make ground quickly. From shredded tires, heavy rain, and the traffic, Hunt carried on. Mario Andretti for Team Lotus saw the checkered flag and finished first. James Hunt flashed across the finish line third, which was just enough to win the championship over Niki Lauda by just one single point. For Hunt, world champion. For Lauda, bitter defeat. When 1976 drawn to a close, James Hunt's stats from the season are this: 6 wins, 8 podium finishes, 6 DNFs, and 319 laps led. Niki Lauda's stats are this: 5 wins, 9 podium finishes, 3 DNFs, and 373 laps out front. Many F1 racing fans far and wide have many seasons that really can be unforgettable. If you are to ask one of them their favorite season, they are very likely to say that their #1 season of all time was 1976. And there you have it, the 1976 Lauda vs. Hunt story. Before I sign off, if you're already hooked into this great rivalry, I highly recommend you see the movie Rush, that explains the story in great detail and goes more in depth on the 1976 season. But anyway, I'm signing off of this video. Thank you for watching, and until next time, have a good one.